Hey DM crafters, welcome to the DM's Craft. I'm DM Scotty. Good to have you with me. Today I'm going to elaborate further on the styrofoam pillars that we did for the cave. Remember we did the stone pillars, really easy and nice to do with those hot wire tools. But now I'm going to elaborate on that method again. I'm doing a very similar method, but I'm adding a really cool detail that I'm going to show you with the engraving tool that you can get with the set. So let's go to the table and I'll show you how I do that. For this cabinet I'm working on now, I'm going to do like it's kind of like a giant beaver nest. So, but I'm still doing the pillars the same way, but I'm just going to do them a little more oddly shaped, like might do something like that. Okay. So I'll just cut through. And this has heat settings on. You want to try to get the heat settings so you don't really get any smoke off of this. There are some fumes. You can wear a mask. I recommend doing it in a ventilated area, not, you know, closed up in your bedroom. There we go. I got the general shape of that, so now I can work. And I'm just basically doing it like the same I did the other pillar. I'm just kind of roughing it out a little bit. Not worried if I'm too exact. And I don't want to just go a straight cut. I want that kind of jagged cut because that gives it some texture. And there we go. So I got that. Now let's cut the rest of this out. A similar technique. All right, there we go. And that was 2 pieces to get that piece out. If you were using knives, it'd be a hot mess. Well, hot mess there. So I did a little bit of kind of curve there, so I'm gonna cut that off. Not really like that. There we go. It's more straight up now. And I did a little bit of it here, so I'll just kind of. And as in my previous video, I don't like the flat top, so I'm gonna just cut that. I'm just cutting a very thin, a wafer thin layer there. And that just gives a little bit of interest, so it's not just totally flat. I don't like the flat. I like some detail there. So I'm gonna cut this off a little bit. All right, so now there's a close-up. That's ready. Now I'm not gonna spray paint this like I did the other one because I don't want that kind of stony texture. I do wanna make this look like a wood because these are gonna be holding up what's kind of like a giant copse of trees that have crashed in, almost like a giant beaver nest in the middle of the woods. So I'm going to use the engraving tool to put some interesting texture on that, and I'll show you that next. Now this engraving tool has a sharp point on it, and it's almost like a drawing instrument. So I've warmed this up. And I'm not going to draw the detail on this, but I want you to watch. So what I'm going to do is I'm trying to simulate branches and trees that have come together to form the pillars of this giant beaver nest. So I'll just going to start kind of pulling. And I'm trying to do like branch shapes. And then the trick is I want them to kind of overlap. So pull them like that. So the trick is to give the illusion that these are all a bunch of a jumble of branches all together. So there you can see kind of got that little detail on there. And then you want to use this as kind of a guide, see how this branch comes down here. So I might continue that all the way down through the piece. And then you can kind of take your cues from other pieces that might be coming through there, and so forth and so on. So you just kind of continued it like a jumbled bunch of branches. And what I'll do is I'll continue this, and then I will I'll get it painted up and ready, and then I'll show you how I detailed it. Now I've got it done. You can also do a little bit of dragging the point over the surface, trying to get a little bit of texture on there. Don't get too aggressive because you don't want to ruin up your, cover up your texture there. But just, that could give you a little bit of extra interest. All right, I'm liking how that's looking. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll base paint this black. Actually, I'm going to base paint it brown, dark brown, and then I'll come back in and we'll do some detail colors. So, all right, I'll see you for the next stage. Here's my pillar that I made, the stick pillar, all dried up. Now, I did go back over this with the dark brown to get in some of the spaces that didn't get filled when I initially did it. It's a good idea when you do these deep cuts like this that you do that, because when it's wet you may not see those as easily as when it's dry. So I tend to wait till it's dry, and then I go back over it and fill in some spaces that I missed. Now you can see I didn't bother to paint the bottom. I really don't need to. It's going to be stuck to the tile, so I don't need to do that. So now I'm just going to use a big old brush, and I would ideally do all these at the same time. And I'm just going to use a lighter brown. This is called Spice Brown. And I'll just load my brush up. This is the dry brush technique, of course. And just run over the surface like that. And there we go. We're all set. So I'll do a little bit of highlight before I put it on the tile. But there you go. You can really see that texture popping out with the lighter brown against the dark. So I'll do one last step, and then we'll show the tile with these applied to them. So I'm going to use some camel for highlight. I just want a little bit of different color on there. Just a touch. I'm not putting too much on there. Just splash it on there a little bit. And like I say, this always dry a little darker than it looks on camera. That's good. That's all I really need. So just a little touch. Now what I'm going to do is, like I talked about in my previous pillars video, I'm going to apply these to the tile. I'm going to go to the tile now, and I'll talk about the tile itself. But I'll apply these just the same way I did for the pillars in the pillars video. So let's go to the tile, and I'll talk about that. So here we go. Here's the tile in all its glory. It's a rather large tile. So basically the story behind it was this creature, this legendary creature, was in the woods, and there was this copse of trees that had fallen over, and it had built almost like a giant beaver's nest in the middle of the woods. So the players had to infiltrate the lair and try to kill it. And I actually had 3 encounters with this. It caused a collapse in this area, and then fled, and then they had to trace it to another area where it had set some traps, and they had to fight that and all that. So it was like a 3-part boss encounter, which was really neat at 3 different locations. But this was the first location, and look how nice those pillars look. They really look like branches that have been kind of woven together. I would imagine that the thing, like, well, the thing would actually secrete this like resin, and that's how it kind of put this nest together. And there actually were some traps later on that used the creature's resin. But I'm going to give a close-up of the tile now, and I'll talk a little bit more. So here we have a close-up of the far end of the tile, and this was the entrance that the creature came in. It was like a tunnel that went underground, so the characters had to crawl through it and up into this lair. And there was light because there was some light that was streamed through the canopy of trees that were collapsed over this nest. So there was some dim light in here. But I also have these, you can see my adventurers for size, and you can see this is a giant tile. But it was a lot of fun, gave a lot of room to maneuver around, especially for the creature. It had like an ability to disappear, blend into its surroundings. It was very hard to track, almost like invisibility. So it was a very difficult fight for the players. But I also, you can see I have a little pile here, and was supposed to simulate bones, like there were bones littered all over this layer. And so what I did for this is, I've talked about it before, I just kind of smeared a little bit with the glue gun and then did some dabs to kind of make like skulls. And then I basically paint it white and then use a like golden type brown to give it that old bone look. But you can see right here the nice pillars on the tile. But they don't really obstruct play. They're tall enough to give you the illusion of that this is actually higher than it is. So they give you the illusion that there's pillars, but it's not too much to obstruct play. So it's still fairly easy to play on this tile, even with these large obstructions on here. So that's what I really like about doing this kind of technique. It's not too crazy as far as getting in the way of play. So we've just really scratched the surface on what you can do with this the hot wire set in this foam. And like I've mentioned before, the foam is very sturdy, so you really don't need to reinforce it for the kind of things that we're doing. If you want something that's going to last for years and years and have a lot of wear, you can get coatings, and Hot Wire Foam Factory does sell coatings. But for my tiles and things, this styrofoam is plenty sturdy to stand up to normal play and wear. So I don't really worry about it. I just paint it over and I use it directly right into the game. But so I hope this gives you some ideas of what you can do with the foam and the tools. Especially the engraving tool gave us that nice woven branch texture into the pillars. So there we go. There is our wooden lair made from detritus of trees and fallen branches. So there we go, and I'll see you next time on the DM's Craft. Hey guys, if you're really digging these videos and would like some more information or to talk to other crafters, look at the link below in the description, and you can join my forum on the DM's Craft. We'd love to have you, and I'll see you there.